Virginia here with Jenny Lee Gems. So I wanted to videotape a little explanation of how I did this. It's going to be like a shawl over the shoulders of the pine needle basket doll I'm making. So as I've mentioned before in this project, they give you certain items you have to use in whatever you submit for this sort of contest. And one of the things was this lace here, and the other was this black thread. So it's not like regular thread. It's embroidery thread, I think. It's a little bit thicker and it's not waxed. So when I decided to create this shawl, I had to do a top. I was going to do just a shirt, or I couldn't figure out what I was going to do. I changed my mind several times. But what I came up with, because I'm also going to have to put arms under here. I wanted to put arms through the hole and come out, but it looks funky. So I'm going to put the arms underneath. They're going to come out from underneath here once I put this on the doll. So this video will be posted after the doll is shown, but in case someone wants to know how I created it, this might be a better way of showing you. So I just started with a small coil. I just started with about 5 or 6 needles, wrapped the end up, and just started wrapping. Went all the way around, made 1 coil. Then when I got to this part, I started attaching. I figured out how wide I needed this to go over the head and then sit comfortably on the neck, and measured it out. And I think it was about 3 inches. So then I just started attaching it, the second coil to the top coil here. And see how I reinforced it? I went right over both coils, not just 1 stitch, but right over with like 5 stitches. And it blends in there pretty well. That's sometimes how I finish off my basket. So I started the same way I would finish, and the same way I finished down here. So then I went on my second coil, went all the way around. Then I got a little bit bigger, did my third coil. And then let's just go around. So there's the third coil, went clear around, and then I split them right here. So I took half of the pine needles and I went up above, and the other half I left loose. So this was pretty difficult because it's small and you're working with 2 sets of pine needles in. And so see how I reinforced it here? It's a little bumpy, but it's okay. It's reinforced. It's not going to move. Just kept coiling over both of them, then split it here, started a coil here wrapping, and started a coil here wrapping. Then I went on around, and I had these little wooden beads, and I knew I wanted those in the middle because I wanted to do this type of stitching, like a web stitching or faggoting stitch, or whatever you like to call it. So when I was up here on this third row, I attached the top of this little wooden bead, and then I kept going around and attach, and I tried to match up where I'm attaching to the top. So you see that the lines match up. Look, all the way here, you could see how they match, and all the way to the top. It just gives it a cleaner look, and probably there's a few places I missed, but that's what I try to do. So then here we have this is the second, third, and it went to, so now I'm on my 4th row. So I came down here and went underneath the bead and then went back up. So I didn't attach this webbing until later, or netting, whatever you want to call it. And then I just added little beads on it randomly. So now we're going down beneath the bead, and I added it in 2 places. I couldn't get it to bend right. I'm getting off camera a little bit. I couldn't get it to bend right and create what I wanted to create with just 1 loop. So I had to do 2, so it looks kind of triangular. So then I came back around. Here's 4th row. We've still got this other row dangling down here, remember? Came back around, all the way around. And then I wanted to leave a cavity here for the front and the back. like this is the breast area, or just the chest. So then right here is where I ended up combining them. So this one was going above, the second one was going below. I worked them around right up next to each other, and then you can see how they were combined. I just put the 2 rows together and I pulled some of the pine needles out so it wouldn't be too thick. You could see it's a little bit thicker here. And then I just wrapped over it, just created 1 coil from the 2 coils, and then went on. And now we've got just the 1 coil going back around. Moved it all the way around, 1 coil, 1 coil. Left the open cavities. So when I left these cavities, I did use wire. So I used floral wire, and I like the thin one, and I painted it the same color or close to a red so it kind of hides in there. There's a little piece that's left over. So I used floral wire here and floral wire here so that it would stay in position. And then I just kept going around and creating my little cavities and making sure to go out, out, out so it would mold over the shoulders of the little doll I have. And kept going until it was large enough to cover to meet the bottom, the skirt part of the dress. And I knew that I was going to use this little piece. So in this challenge, you have to use every piece of material that they give you. It's called the Red Dress Project. You can look it up online. This will be going into, if I can get it done, it's going to be going into the LeConner Museum of Fiber Arts. So we shall see how it comes out. But I wanted to show you while I had this piece loose still so you can understand what I did a lot easier rather than trying to explain it to you when it's all put together. It probably wouldn't make much sense. So hope that helps if you have any questions on that. And I think it's looking really cute. I wish I had more of this lace. I looked for it. So you have to use the lace they gave you, but you can add to it. I couldn't find it anywhere. It's, you know, this dress, this red dress project has been all over the world. So look it up. It's pretty interesting. But that's going to be the top. I'm calling it a shawl. I don't know what else to call it. But if you're interested, that's how I made it. Thanks for watching. Working in small spaces is a bit difficult. So this is going to be a little shawl for the top of my pine needle doll. And I'm trying to attach this lace. But trying to get your hands in through these little areas is just a bit difficult. Trying to use these tools. That seems to help. This thread seems to tangle a lot too. It's kind of a softer thread. It's not waxed like what I used to do this stitching. This is wax thread. This is not, but this is a piece of thread that I have to use in this project. But I think it's going to come out okay. It's not going to be perfect. This thread has to show. It was a little piece of thread that they gave me in the packet that I have to use. And it has to show. So that's why the stitching is showing. And I kind of ran out of thread. So That's what it's looking like. This is going to be the top of her dress. And that's the only way I could think to use this little piece that they gave me. So I used up this piece that they gave me, and I had to have it showing, as well as this black. It's kind of a yarn type thread. Anyway, that's how it's coming out. It's looking pretty good, but it's really hard to work in these small spaces. I'll show you the final product whenever I get it done. Thanks for watching. Here is the cape or shawl sitting on top of the doll stand. You will notice various red threads still hanging out on the dress portion. I use the same red wax thread as the dress, along with a large leather needle, to pull the thread through the styrofoam doll stand, securing the dress to the stand. I knew the doll would be moved around from place to place, so I tried to stabilize it as much as possible. I had to keep working with the cape portion, making sure it was long enough to meet up with the dress portion below, covering the white doll stand underneath. You can see the cape has several openings wherein I used a netting stitch and attached gold beads. The round wood pieces were added to allow room for the arms, but it didn't quite work out. The arms ended up being attached underneath the cape instead. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please keep an eye out for my other videos on the making of every woman. Thank you again for watching.